Absolute pleasure to introduce you guys to an experienced, very experienced Scrum Master, Agile enthusiast, and wonderful person, Dariusz Klupi.
Hello. Hi. Let me take the place on the stage with a deep breath, and let me see how this works. Great. So my name is Dariusz Klupi. I'm a co-founder of an organization, Adaptacja. And today I would like you to spend a little bit of time with me talking about power, the consequences of using power, and a little bit of agile culture as well. All right. So no organizations can work without engaged employees. Yet, statistics shows, and this is statistic from the very, very popular platform for programmers, Stackoverflow, so responses from 80,000 people. It says that only 30% of people are engaged and satisfied with their work. What does it mean? Is that according to this study, only 25% of your staff are not thinking or are not ready to change you as an employer if you're hiring people. I'm sure in Lublin this is not a problem, but definitely in Krakow it is. Yes. So it means that 75% are actively or passively ready to leave your organization if there will be a new opportunity arising. So Stackoverflow is not the only institution that monitors this. There is a Gallup which monitors engagement for over 20 years. And as you can see, the results are very similar. It oscillates from 25 to 34% recently. Unfortunately, I cannot prove that this is because of the Agile, which is entering the organizations, not yet at least. The AON, which was doing similar study, shows it's 24-27%. And when we look at the map of the distribution, Poland is lower than the baseline for Europe. So the engagement in Polish companies, it can be even lower than in the United States. So the question is, why do we quit, right? And of course there are various reasons why employees change the jobs. There are reasons which are purely individual, like I want to work for a more prestigious company, or I want to take a role which my current company is not offering. Sometimes money, and of course as an employers, we don't have that much influence on all of those aspects. But definitely we have influence on two things. We have influence on the structures that we are building. We have the influence on the policies that other employees work under and they have to submit to. We have a lot of influence about our working culture and how people are being treated in our organization. And today, I would like us to focus on working culture and especially about treating other people. So the question, have you heard the expression that people are joining organizations but leaving bosses? Raise your hand if you did. Yes, so it is no. So what those bosses do that people choose to leave the organization and take a risk of joining something new? So first of all, of course, they do what the bosses need to do. So they tell other people what to do. And this is not bad that they are doing this, because this is their job. But what is really, really important is how they are doing it, right? So the style changes everything. So let's look at 8 styles that how you can make other people doing something for you. Before we do this, you might think that working culture is not that important. And yet, according to the study, it says that for 50% of people, so in this case 40,000 of programmers, it is truly important. And for me personally, it's one of the most important aspects if I want to stay with an employer for a longer time or not. How do we harness the power of an agile culture which promises higher engagement and retention? One of the reasons, treating people. So power number 8, it is a physical power. We can make someone to do something we want them to do using a threat. Do what I say or I will punch you, right? It's quite easy, it's quite effective. Of course, nowadays it's not really legal anymore. So unless you are working in a war zone or in mafia structures, it is forbidden to use it. However, there is a close cousin to physical power, which we can use still and is being used, and this is shaming. So how does it work? We are such a great team, and we are getting bad results because of you, right? So this is something. Or you are such a disappointment, but you know what? I will give you a second chance, so do it right during this weekend, all right? Of course, as everything in the universe, it has the positive aspect and negative aspect. So the positive aspect, it is fast, those kinds of power, they are fast, they are effective. The dark side of it is that they are waking up passive aggression and sabotage. So we want to make things fair in our own way. And they put attention on survival. So if there is a lot of repression or physical or psychological violence used against us, then we are focusing on survival. So we are not thinking about our customers, we are not thinking about the products, we are not thinking about the organization as the whole. We are thinking how to survive and stay healthy and sane. The last one is toxic fear. And toxic fear in organizations, this is something that absolutely kills all the innovation and it kills engagement. Let's move to number 6, political power. Political power comes from belonging to the right influential circles or groups. So it works like this. Do as we tell you, or your life in this organization will be very, very hard. Yes, you will not succeed. So join the winners. Yes. The good side, it gives you the power of the group. Groups are more powerful than individuals. There is a loyalty within a group, so certain things are simply simpler. You know, you don't have to convince people. The loyalty cuts through complexity of organizing ourselves. The dark side is chronism, so basically accepting to the group only those people who we like or we are related with. Attention on division. So if there is a lot of power of this type used, people see there is a division, there are silos, and people try to get to those groups who have the influence and power, or they move to opposition and they sabotage what this group is doing. And very often the interest of the group is preferred over the interest of the entire organization, which is not that great news if we are thinking about the well-being of our company. Emotional power. This is kind of power that we know very well from our homes, because to use this power, you have to be in a relation which you care for. So very often, our parents are using this against us, right? If you loved me, you would do it for me, right? But of course, this is not only spouses and parents, this is also the celebrity leaders. Those are the people who we care to be in a good relation with. So it can work like, for the sake of our friendship, please, can you do it this evening after work, even though there is a great event in Lublin? Good side, it is effective and easy to apply. The dark side of it, it activates self-defense, and in the long term, it destroys the relation. So I know many people who are not talking with their parents anymore, and maybe because this emotional power was abused in the past too much. So it is a very short-sighted way of doing people what we want them to do. Number 4, structural power. Very easy. It works like this. I'm your boss, so you tell what I say, right? The good thing about this, it is simple and logical, well-known and accepted, because this is how most of the organization work, right? So this is one of the, you can even be fired if you are not doing what your bosses are telling you to do. Yeah, this is absolutely normal and logical. The dark side of it is that when your boss tells you what to do and how to do it, it takes off responsibility from the result. Because the only thing you need to do is you have to do things according to the policy, according to the rules. But if the result is not okay, we say, yeah, I did everything, you can check it, right? But the customer doesn't like the application. Well, you tell me to follow the process. So it causes detachment. It causes detachments from the very things which are the most important in the organization. And it moves attention on promotion, because if the bosses are the ones who are holding the influence, and those are the ones who can innovate, we want to do this as well. So we want to be promoted. So again, we are not focused on customers, on our colleagues, not the organization as a whole. We want to go up. There was a time when I wanted it very badly. Next one, economical power. You have something I want. I have something you want. So let's exchange, right? So this is how it works. The good thing about this, again, that this is well known and accepted, because this is foundation of the market exchange. There is dark side to it, and it is benefits, personal benefits over values our organization has, of the mission our organization has, of the well-being of something more important than ourselves. Aggressive negotiations. Very often when we have the deal, soon we realize that those who negotiate aggressively, they win this game. So this is where attention goes. And very often this is a subject to blackmail. Oh, you are almost there. I will give you what you want, but you have to do it a little bit more. One more weekend, one more something, right? Number 2, organizational power. Every organization has those golden people who know the organization very well. They've been there for a long time. They know the processes and they know how to get things done. And on top of that, they really like human beings. So it means that they are very, very helpful. The good thing is how it works. It works, go to this person, follow this process, and this will work for you. Yes, I know this is not fully according to the rules, but this is the way how you can be effective, right? If it doesn't work, come back, I will help you. Good thing, it's the following to this power is voluntary, and voluntarism is very powerful because there is no resistance. It's super effective, it's very connective, so those people are cutting through silos within the organization. The bad thing about this kind of power, it is very rare. You cannot hire it because it has to be someone who knows the system very well and who knows the people very well and already has the relations. And it takes a long time to gain, so it's quite exclusive to use this. And with that, let's move to number 1. It is a social power. Social power works like this. If I were you, I would do like this and this. This is what worked for me in the past. Or maybe they even ask the question, what would you do? Yes, it sounds like a good idea, so why don't you follow it? So again, it's voluntary, there's no resistance. Even more, we are honored to be helped by someone who we keep as an authority, right? Very often social power is attached to those who we respect. It is the most powerful type of power because we follow people. The direction is already correct, emerges naturally. The bad thing for organization is that it needs very advanced soft skills to be applied, and it's not stable, it's fluid. It means that very often, if the new expert, new authority emerges, the power is being moved along to the new authority. So you cannot build stable structures based on it. Very, very, very brief introduction to the very big topic of the paradigms of the organizations. So 10,000 years ago, and before that, we had local tribes, and the authority was applied by the elders. And then some time ago, when there was a more need for power, the powerful chiefdoms emerged, and the control was always from the bottom, from the top down, and most of the time used with power. So those are we call them red organizations, and today we can see those type of organizations in mafia structures or paramilitary organizations, right? Then some thousands of years ago, when we realized that not only the strongest people have good ideas, we started to build organizations where you can be nominated somewhere in the hierarchy, and formal command and control, the stick, very hierarchical organizations. Then with the industrial and scientific revolution came new paradigm based more on science and more on predict and control paradigm, which took shareholder perspective. And most of the organizations we have nowadays are of the orange paradigm. So probably in this room, statistically, I would say at least 75% of the organization would be using this paradigm. And something happened 20, 30 years ago where new paradigm was discovered. Not fully true. The new paradigm was becoming more attractive. So organization based on values, on a very strong working culture, relationships were more important than the outcomes, and they took stakeholder perspective, and the employees were stakeholder perspective. There is plenty of organizations who are family businesses who they don't even know that they are running on an agile paradigm, right? So this ethos of values gave them the flexibility and effectiveness, which then it was named agile and is becoming popular, especially in the IT world. And there are teal organizations, but we won't be talking about those today. This is very, very interesting topic, but it's also huge. So what was happening that when the paradigms of organizations were changing, the organizations, they could embrace more complexity, so they could work in the ways that previous types of organizations they couldn't. They were more resilient to the change and to the shocks of the market or the external events, and they were more and more effective. So this is one of the paradigms that is changing, that those organizations are more effective. And one of the reasons they are more effective, that the control changes from external. So when we have the red organization, external comes with the power. We have to really control everything, because if we have a lot of fear, people would run away if they could, right? Sometimes we have to even protect people that they are not leaving physically our organization. And it's moving into internal control more and more. And of course, the types of power that dominate in those organizations also change. So in the red organization, of course, it is a physical power and psychological violence, which is shaming. And when we are moving to the new types of organizations, there are different types which need to be applied. Economical power, of course, stays as the foundation of the market, so it spreads all over all the paradigms. However, it also changes how we are using it and how we, for example, construct contracts. If you want to harness the power of agile organization, certain types of power are really, really killing this paradigm. So basically, if you try to use them, or you are using too much of them, you are killing what Agile and this green culture promises that you will get. Yes. So let's look from the employee perspective. We join new organizations full of hope and credit of engagement, self-respect, so we're selected, so we feel good about ourselves. And we care for the whole at the beginning, and sometimes we come with the innovative ideas. And during onboarding and when we are being trained by HR, then we absorb like a sponge all the values that company selected. Those are the values that represent us. And then in the following weeks, we start to work with our bosses. And very often what happens is, depending what kind of power is being applied on us, or those things on the right grows and is becoming, it evolves, or it's being destroyed to the moment that we are disengaged, and again, we are looking for a new opportunity for ourselves. So there were companies which, at least some time ago, they were very, very, very agile, very green. And for 10 years, they made a study which managers are the most valuable for this type of organization. And after 10 years, they came with this conclusion, that the 6 most important things to teach managers is mindset and values, there's perspective taking and how to protect that the values are lived, not only a slogan on the wall. Emotional intelligence, also known as my beloved empathy skill. Manager transition, so you can see that what I said about authority and social power, that it's fluid, so this is the same. Very often the leadership is being attached to the role, is being passed with the role from one person to another. It's not that once you become a leader, you stay forever, like in a hierarchical organization. Coaching and feedback, it means that the psychology is really entering the mainstream, and the leaders, they need to know how human beings operate to stay engaged. Decision making as number 6. I would like to leave you with one key message, and it will be to create an organization powered by an agile culture where majority of employees care for customers or clients, products, services, teams, and organization as a whole. You as a leader need to host fertile ground for collaboration and engagement, right? So for me, this is the key message. This has to be fostered. This is a skill of leadership to make the culture for engagement and innovation and collaboration. So what are the skills? And I would like to leave you with my list, which I believe it's the most important. As a leaders and as an owners, use power responsibly and consciously, because some kinds of power, they are killing the culture you are trying to create. Ensure psychological safety, communication based on trust and transparency. Use empathy as a source of information. Once you start understanding emotions in people, you see a lot of information, and as a leader, the more information you have, the better is your orientation in what is happening, and the better the orientation, the better decisions you will be taking. As simple as that. Have ability to transform conflicts. So in agile organizations, you are not allowing hidden conflicts to stay. You are opening them up and transform them, so energy is not going for toxic culture, it goes for what is the most important in the organization. Offer collective decision making to keep engagement. Of course, if we make our own decisions, usually we are engaged to keep them, right? To execute them correctly. And discover shared common purpose. This is especially important for teal organization when shared purpose is a silent leader, so it decides what we do when no one is checking, no one is watching, no one is controlling. And this is not an exhaustive list, but this is where I would like to leave you today with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dariusz.